Hey guys, Meteorologist Chris Tomer here with this Wednesday mountain weather update, and it is another powder day up in British Columbia. This is interior BC at Revelstoke, and looking really good. The gnome is basically buried up to his beard this morning. It's been an incredible couple of days, and I've got additional snow in my forecast down the road. So it should be great. Another day of excellent skiing here across the Tetons. Jackson Hole reporting 6 inches in the last 24 hours, 120 for the season. And over the last 2 or 3 days, over 2 feet. So excellent conditions up there. You can see the view at Jackson Hole. Oh, look at this sunrise. Top of the ptarmigan lift at Loveland ski area. Looking off to the east, 5 inches of new snow with this dirty northwest flow that has now come to an end. And I say it was a dirty northwest flow because the main storm was not even anywhere in close. It was up in the Pacific Northwest in BC. The only thing that was happening was the flow was coming down and sort of carrying a touch of that moisture and of course a little bit of orographics all the way down into the northern mountains and even down to the I-70 corridor in Colorado. So it was just way out of the way, far removed from the storm system. But that's all it takes sometimes is a little bit of a turning of the wind in Colorado, and you can start to crank out snowfall. Okay, here is the radar, and again, the storm is way up in the Pacific Northwest in BC. You can see where all the precipitation is this morning. Let me take you down into Seattle. Even some oranges and reds, some intense moisture showing up across parts of Washington State. Of course, snow for the high volcanoes and the high Cascades with this. Let me give you the lay of the land. So here is a water vapor satellite imagery and drier air in the mid-levels and oranges and reds. And you're looking at the moisture, and here's our storm system right here. With all of these blues and the whites, that's where your moisture is. And so that flow is coming down, and it was running, this is northwest flow, into parts of the central to northern mountains of Colorado, and that's what was cranking out a little bit of that orographic snow. Another big storm system behind it will also be a player in the forecast. And then down the road, let me take you to my bullet points here this morning. There's a Christmas Eve and a Christmas Day storm system that will come in further to the south and hit California. It will hit a lot of the Sierra, move through Nevada, Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, and Colorado. So that is a significant storm because it basically pulls the storm track further to the south. In the Northeast, I don't have anything major in the forecast. In fact, here are my key dates. Here's my snow timeline for the Wasatch, Tetons, Colorado, Tahoe, interior BC, and the Northeast. I won't go through all these, but for example, once the pattern shifts, in the Wasatch, light accumulation 23, and then potentially heavy accumulation 24, 25, and moderate on 27. So it's that Christmas Eve, Christmas Day storm that may break the pattern a little bit and bring it further to the south. And you can see that in Colorado with light on 1223 and then moderate to heavy 1225 and then light to 1227. Look at interior BC. Potentially some snow continuing this morning. And then your next shots are all light. Afternoon 1219, 1221, 1223, 1224. But at least there's a continuation of some snow in the forecast. All right, let's go to Solitude this morning, up there in Big Cottonwood Canyon. Here's the forecast meteogram for Solitude. This is at about 9,100 feet. And you can see the column for today. There's the 19th, there's tomorrow, Friday the 20th, and Saturday the 21st. It's totally dry. There's nothing in the forecast for Solitude, Brighton, Alta, or Snowbird through early 21. So high temps today in the middle 30s, mid to upper 30s tomorrow, upper 30s on Friday. So it does warm up, and I mean, it's going to be beautiful skiing. There just isn't any new snow in the forecast. Okay, let me show you what the jet stream is going to look like by close of business today. So the Stormtrack obviously favoring the Pacific Northwest, BC, parts of Idaho, and Montana. Everybody else is beneath this ridge, this ridging effect with the jet. There's 1219, same thing. Here we go on 1220. Another storm right there, 1220, 1221 moves to the Pacific Northwest northern tier. Okay, here's 1222, 1223. Now notice, look at the dip in the jet coming in from the Pacific. This is going to go further to the south. This is going to be our Christmas Eve storm. And there it is by Christmas Eve, 1224. So the trough, the area of low pressure is moving into the interior at this point, affecting Nevada, Idaho, a lot of Utah. And then into 1225, it moves through Colorado, and then it moves away after that. And there may be another storm behind that. You can see that in the jet right there. All right, let me show you the forecast radar and the satellite. So by the time we get to 5:30 this afternoon, all the precipit's up to the north. Okay, here's tomorrow at 5 a.m. There goes the next storm system heading into the Pacific Northwest in BC through 1220. And everything's pretty quiet, low of 48. Here comes a little bit of a storm that sort of brushes the west coast with some precip, and then that moves a band of light snow into the interior through 1221 and through the Tetons. And then here comes a little larger storm system by 1223. That moves snow into the interior, but that's not the main storm system. That one moves through pretty fast. Here comes the big one. So this is 1224. Obviously more precipitation, focused up and down the west coast, Sierra, Cascades, BC. Now this one makes its move into the interior and it holds together. And it actually strengthens a little bit. Snow for a lot of Nevada. Snow will be building into Utah during the day on the 24th. Snow up into Idaho pretty much all day long. And there it is. 1224 to 1225 in the morning. Snow for a lot of Utah. Tetons, Idaho, building into Colorado through the 25th. Maybe even a little bit of rain snow for Denver as it rolls through 1225, and then it exits. Next storm system, here it comes. This one also takes a little bit of a track that could favor parts of California and also the interior. Look at that. Through 1227, you've got snow redeveloping across a lot of the Intermountain through Utah, Idaho, the Tetons, and eventually this would slide through Colorado. All right, here are my numbers. So all of today through tomorrow, everything's up to the north into parts of the Pacific Northwest, BC, Idaho, Montana. Okay, second time period. 1220 through 1227 accounts for two different storm systems, maybe even three across the northern tier. But you can see how big the numbers are. With 2 or 3 storm systems hitting the Pacific Northwest, looking at 2 to 3 feet, maybe more, maybe 4 feet of accumulation up there around Baker, Rainier, Crystal, Stevens, and Whistler, Blackcomb. Big numbers through the interior, potentially 1 to 2 feet for Red Mountain and also Revelstoke, less through Kicking Horse and Fernie, and less into Banff Sunshine and Marmot Basin, but still great numbers. Potentially 1 to 2 feet for the Sierra, could be more over Shasta, and about a foot there through parts of the Wasatch, assuming that 1224-25 storm holds together, and potentially a foot for the Tetons. 6 to 12 for parts of Colorado. That would be excellent because we definitely need it. We haven't had an organized storm system in, it feels like 2 weeks. I mean, this is way down the road, obviously. This is, that snow would not arrive, and you could see it in the timeline. It would not arrive in Colorado until 1225 and with moderate to heavy accumulation. So that's quite a ways down the road. Okay, let me just show you the Northeast. So I've got about 3 to 6 inches of accumulation here between Vermont, New York, New Hampshire, and Maine. So nothing major, just little shots of snow. And you can see it in the timeline here. For the Northeast, light to moderate this afternoon, tonight, light on 1220 and light on 1224. So no major storm systems. You can see the numbers here, lots of 6s and 7s through Vermont and parts of New York. All right, guys, we're going to end on the big map here for the West that runs us through Christmas. And again, just keeping fingers crossed that this 1224-25 storm system holds together, because that's what really generates a lot of the snow you see here across California, Utah, Colorado, and Wyoming. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in here today. Always appreciate it. Take care and have a great day.